My name is Sabina Zunguze, and my company name is called A Gift to Africa, and I always have to put the LLC there because most people think A Gift to Africa is a nonprofit. It's not. And there's a reason it's called A Gift to Africa. So I started A Gift to Africa in 2005, so it's been a while. And I'll talk more about what I do. But in a nutshell, what I do right now is I work with about 300 women in Africa. And we process wild ingredients that I then export from Africa to other parts of the world, and then also bring some here, and I make product with it. I had some graphics on there, but it's not showing. But anyway, we'll do without the graphics. So I guess, with my topic, we just have to have the groundwork of what small business I'm talking about. According to this SBA, a small business for them is a business that has 1,500 employees, and there's a maximum of 38.5 million. So that's not the business that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the real one-person business. I'm talking about businesses with less than 100 employees. And I'm also talking about locally based businesses. So you could be locally, when I don't mean like multinational or international or, so I'm talking about those who are in the crunches and the ones that we call startup businesses. So I've given this talk before pandemic, and it was different from what I'm going to say now because everything has changed. Life has changed after the pandemic. 2020 brought us the pandemic, and obviously our lives changed, especially for the small businesses. And the reason I'm talking about all of this is I'm going to circle back then to tell you how small businesses then leverage or strategically plan their processes to fight not to fight, but to work with the big guys. Again, internet, social media, is part of our world now. I don't know how we'll ever live without it. As a business person, there's always, if you go online or you have to talk to anyone, you hear people talking about AI, automation, because as a small business, you are the CEO, the CFO, you are the packer, you are everybody. But if you use the automation that is now available, it'll save you a lot of time. Electronics, there I'm talking about, our phones, our iPads, whatever it is that we're using has changed. So, and now there's a big overload with all of that. The consumer has become more conscious in our world. I'm in the food business. I've never seen a time where people actually are looking back at the label and want to know how many calories are in this thing. What am I getting out of this? What are the ingredients that I cannot, what is that ingredient called? What is it? Because everyone has become so conscious about what they put on their body or even the services that they're getting. Is it authentic enough? Whom is it serving? So that's where we're going with our world. And then there's been a rise of social issues, diversity awareness, within the last couple of years. I don't know how many times companies now are more aware, how can we do more to be more diverse within a company? I'm just going to address all these things just one by one. So the pandemic, for a small business, has brought about global competition. We are online, we are together. Nobody even worries about where you're coming from. But when you're online and you're serving a certain population, it doesn't matter where you are because you're competing with everybody else. You're a small business, and big business knows this, that now we are all on the same platform. We are all online, and if I have a website, as long as that website is built well, I'm just the same, myself and a big company that's around the corner. Again, information overload. Whom do you trust? I mean, everyone is claiming all kinds of things. That's not news to anyone. So, and then let me hit on the rise in the internet, social media, AI. I don't know what happened. Okay. So now we hear, if you've heard the word influencer marketing, you've heard the automation. I talked about the automation. If I'm using an influencer online, it's just like me and the next big company. They're also using those people because we're all leveraging people who are connected to other people online. Automation has helped with so many things. For myself, I have a website, but I have a lot of automation. You will not believe that it's just me managing that, because if anyone touches my website, I know what words they've used, I know how to get back to them, I know what they've bought from me and what else I can do to sell them, but it's all automated. It just doesn't mean that because I'm a one-man person, as opposed to a big company that has a whole department doing it, we are just both on the same field. So we are, it doesn't matter who you are, we are on the same platforms. Too much information to everybody. There's a lot of free information out there. You just have to decipher what it is that is true to your company, and what you then believe. Going next to the consciousness of the consumer, there's a rise of the informed consumer, as I said. People are reading labels. People want to know, if a doctor said this, how do I go to the WebMD to search whatever it is that is available? People are more, as I said, the information overload is just, unbelievable. Changing lifestyles. We are now talking about people being plant-based, people being earth-conscious, food preferences. People are now eating better, people are now living better. People know that if my house is got solar power, I'm better off than having electricity. So all those changes that have happened is just giving us, all of us, access to the same information, no matter whether you're big or small. As a small business, there's the advantage that you have in buying local. There's a rise in the buy local of supporting small business. If I have to go out there and I say I'm from Pensacola, as opposed to say I'm in the telephone business, as opposed to T-Mobile, people would want to support me first. They want to know, how can I help ourselves in our own community? So that whole big rise in buy local has really been an advantage to the small guys. So the advantages of being small. When you're small, you got quick pivot. I don't have a department myself that I have to go to head office to talk about any change that I need to do. If there's something that has come up, it's just me and my small team that I will just say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and we can implement things very quickly. Life has changed. Life in the big world has changed. Flexibility is king. So instead of having meetings and whoever has to make the decision, we can do it faster. Small businesses are also bringing out authentic brands. And here, let me give an example of women-owned businesses. A lot of women-owned businesses are because there was a problem that you encountered, and you thought, I can solve this, and that's how we go into business. And a lot of small businesses is because there's a gap that you see and you get into it, and the passion is just so grand, so much that the authenticity of what it is that you're bringing comes with so much passion than a big company that's coming in and somebody is just working there, they're there to get a pay, and you don't know whether to believe or not. Local. I talked about the local part of it where there's this big grand thing about how do we support a local business so we keep the dollars within the community. So as small businesses, we have a tendency of saying, well, I'm not going to outprice myself. No, you don't. I mean, I don't know how many times I was told till I had to change it that change your pricing. You can do more than that. But I was going and saying, well, you know, this big company that sells the same things that I sell are selling it at $10. How can I sell it at $20? Yes, if you believe in it and you know that that thing is worth $20 and you just go out and, you know, you will sell it for $20 instead of $10. It's just like Starbucks coffee. Starbucks coffee is so expensive, but we buy it anyway, right? So why couldn't we do it as small businesses? One other thing is, if you cannot beat them, join them. One of the things that I do, I never am at places where there are people who are just like me all the time. I go to where the big guys are because I know I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn something where they are, and I'm just going to push it. We have a saying, I'm from South Africa, right? So we have a saying in my language which says, you know, you will never prosper. I'm trying to translate in my head. You will never prosper if you're always in that same environment, right? So because what you're seeing is just what is around you. To get ahead, you have to get to those that you want to look like. Maybe about 10 years ago, I started my business when I was selling handmade products. And I was told that there was a big conference that was happening in town. I wasn't living here then, I was out west. I was told, well, that conference, you only get T-Mobile and AT&T and all the big companies. There's nobody who goes there to sell jewelry. And I said, I'm gonna go. I am going there. And they said, nobody will ever buy. That was the best thing that I ever did for my company because I wanted to be there where AT&T was, where T-Mobile was, and I'm selling jewelry, but I was there because I believed in what I was doing. I thought if those companies are there, they're going to look at me, and somebody who's coming to see AT&T is probably the person who's probably going to invest in my company or who's going to be my biggest client. So, you know, just go ahead and do what you believe. And as I said, trends are easier adopted by small businesses. And this has been a big factor for my business. And I'll talk more about, you know, all the stuff that I have encountered as a small business. I've got a really tiny team, but I've been able to compete with, like Catrice says, with Coca-Cola and with Pepsi, but it's just me. But when you see me out there, you don't even, you won't know that I'm not as big. I don't have a department that does research. I don't have a department that's just there, just online. It's just me and my little team. As small businesses, we also take really good advantage of being closer to the consumer. I am at the Palafox Market Saturdays. Most Saturdays, I'm there. And I go there specifically because I want to understand my consumer. I want to understand when I say, because I've got a product that I have to explain. I explain, and people ask me questions, and I write down what those questions are, and I keep changing my literature because I'm closer to whoever is going to use that, and I know exactly what it is they're going to do with it and what their pain points are. Just like the other presentation that was here, if you know, that process needs to take care for you to make a decision, right? If you're launching a product or a service, whatever it is. So I go from the farmer's market. I also do really big expos because that's a different audience from my farmer's market, because I know people at the farmer's market are the ones that are really going to use this product. We have a rise of the millennials. Millennials have been a problem for some older folks like myself. because we need to understand how they're buying, and they've got money. So what has happened is that millennials are very focused on the product itself. I'll give an example for myself. I work, as I said, with about 300 women in Africa. And I will explain my product. I explain what it is, what it does for you, and all of that, and they will love it. But the minute I also say, well, you know, my company is actually a women empowerment company. If I had said that first, they wouldn't even have bothered about everything else I said. They said, I want to be part of that. And I have people who leave me money because they want to be part of that movement. It's like, how can I help? What is it that I can do? And is this product authentic enough for me to buy it, to make sure that I believe in it? Because there's so much in the market. So the millennials come in, they've got money, and they're very conscious about what they buy. Okay, so now I'm just going to talk about the strategies then that I used personally for beating the giant. As I mentioned, establishing a social digital presence for your small business is so important. Nobody knows if you have a well-built website. There are website people here. There are people who do graphics and all that stuff. If you've got something that's well-built, nobody knows who's in the background. And again, you know, we are just there as me and somebody else who's got, you know, hundreds of employees. Good design, good customer service is also very important. I collect emails all the time, and I have ways of getting that. As I said, all that automation of using different apps on my website, and I finesse the content. I hone in on what my customer is saying. I have, if you go on my website, you'll see people saying, oh, this one's bought this, and they said this. And that's what people want to know. They don't want to know it from me. They want to know from a person who's doing this. And I use a lot of organic social media because, as I said, I'm closer to my consumer, and I can, you know, I know that if I tell them from the market, they're going to go and buy it. And even if I'm on whatever it is, Facebook, Instagram, I use Instagram a lot, or whatever, internet or based, whatever I'm using, they know me authentically, not from an ad, but because they've heard me talk. I do a lot of videos, I do a lot of, my ladies that I work with, we are out there and we are talking about, you know, different things. That's what people are looking for. And I think this is the time for small businesses to really take advantage of all of that stuff. And then also there are other approaches on the, you know, there's paid ads, there's influencers, there's automations, there's all kinds of things that you can use online. As business owners, also, one that has been an advantage for me, I've just been in this area for about, this is my third year, but I've lived in South Florida, I've lived out west, I've lived up north, I've lived in the east. I think I've been in 30 different states where I've lived, but every time, getting involved with the local community is so important for people to know what it is that you're doing, because you've got authentic customers who are right there with you. Sponsor events, product services, volunteer, attend, all kinds of things. Get involved in your local community. You do have the leverage of your community for you to get support right from the community. I also run local promotions. My presentation had some kind of graphics and it's not working, but I always come up with ideas, promotions, giveaways. I join the local chamber. As I said, I don't just go to where my comfort zone is. I go out there. I'm with the local chambers. I'm with other global events. I belong to Global Women in International Trade and all that stuff so that I can learn. But as a local business, I also get that credibility from people. Contests, of course, as I said, people love a good promotion to support any local business. And then get your name out there in front of local customers. through branded content. So branded content, people who are in the digital world, you're not really selling anything, you're just talking about your story. So people hate just to be told, buy this, or I've got this is what it does, but no. I just talk about my story and what it's doing I employ people here, I employ women in Africa, and people just love that. Oh, I want to know more. I mean, what is it that you do? But in the midst of all of that, they know where I'm coming from, and I get a sale. I don't know whether this is an example of branded content. This is, sorry, I gotta skip this. I don't know whether this will play. Oh. What I was going to play for you is an example of branded content. This is a company that sells garage doors, and what they did was they talked about anything but garage doors, but they were talking to their community and talking about, because in the community what their pain points are. Just go and say, we know. So they're saying in that video, we know, people have been scammed, they've had people come in and sell them garage doors that don't work, and we are here, so we started this business with my dad, and this is how I started, and all of that stuff. And people are listening, it's like, oh, okay, I want that. I want to deal with them. So next time they need garage doors, they were going to go to that company. So that's what I was going to play right there. It's not playing. So one of the things that big companies do have is a whole team that looks after their brand. There's nowhere where you would see a T and you won't know that that's T-Mobile. You know that that's T-Mobile. Because they've built that brand and they do have that reputation, and they hone it. There's a team that's just doing that. But for you as a total small business, it is so important that you see what's going on about your company and how you're projecting yourself off and online. Ask for customer feedback. Ask them, what is it that I can do? Respond to their reviews. Look for ways to continue to build your success. Deliver excellent customer service. If your customers know you provide a good service, they will always come to you as opposed to big business. How many times have you said, well, I'm just going to go to that mom and pop shop, I'm not going to go to Publix? And they sell the same thing, because you want to support them. As long as you know that their product there, nobody ever got sick by going to that, local store. But in any case, you know that you are supporting your local business, even if the cost is higher. Even if my coffee is higher than Starbucks, I'll still go to you because I know, you are confident in that price that you are charging, and you are there for a reason, and I know that you're never going to leave this community. You're going to be in this community. So, as I said before, make improvements. It's so important to segment also your target audience, personalized services. These are some of those apps that also help you online, even offline. When people come to your store, if you're a local business, do you give them coupons? Do you know them by name? That's how people will gain their trust to keep coming back and back to you. This is a very important subject right there, because as small businesses, we want to do it all. As I said, you're the CEO, you're the CFO, you're the cleaner, you do everything. Even if you have help, you get yourself into so many of those things, and then you don't have time for marketing. I was one of those people. I would work myself 16 hours a day and never had time to strategize, to look at my business and saying, what is it that I can do to move from step 1 to step 2? Because I was so inundated on things to do. Outsourcing is always king. Delegation is always king. Hire a good team, obviously, and know your values. For me, it's always about, because that's the essence of my company, it's always about, am I still empowering the women that are in Africa? Am I still providing eco-friendly products? And am I still, those are my values for my company. Everything I do, I have to think about that. There's so many things that I could be doing that I don't do because they don't align with why I started the company. So, let me tell you my story. I said to you, you are whom you surround yourself with. So, as I said, I never am in a place where I'm comfortable. I always go outside my comfort zone. And that's where it got me to where I am right now. Oh, shoot. It's not bringing any of my pictures. Oh, shoot. I've got all kinds of pictures I was going to show you. I don't know what happened. Anyway, I will just talk about them. I don't know why is that? See, all the pictures are not there.
Yeah, they won't show up. I don't know, because they're showing right there.
Yeah, I got this. This is all full of pictures on there. Anyway, I'll just talk about it. I have a picture in there with a king in Europe. I met this king at an event, and I'm always talking about my company, what I do, why I do it, and where I am based. And he was so interested in what I was doing, and he said, "Can you come to my country? Can you distribute your program in my country?" I said, "I'm there, and I am there. I provide some stuff to them." In that picture, I also have myself with Winter Olympics gold medalists. I provided my services when there was the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City. I was there in the pavilion. I said, well, I'm local, I'm here, I want to provide, I have a beverage on this thing over there. And I said, I want to provide beverage, it doesn't cost me too much. I mean, even if it did, the result that I was gonna get out of that was going to be more than me spending money to give, at that reception. So this was for gold medalists after the Winter Olympics. I also have, I don't know why this is not showing. I also have a picture in there after I had been with the president in one of the African countries in Republic of Congo. I was over there and I said, hey, I'm from the United States, I work with women, and I would like to come and help with your conference. They were having a conference in the Republic of Congo, it's called Kinshasa. I was in there, and the conference ended up being like I was part of the conference. I wasn't even, I just said, I want to come in there and I want to show you what I'm doing in the United States with products that are also available locally. So all that exposure for me was, I don't know who is in the room. It was people who saw me at any of those spaces who go and tell other people that, well, I met this woman, she was over there, and she was giving, and I end up speaking about my company because I'm in the audience anyway. And I get a good word out of that. And then in my story, I also have a picture with Mrs. USA Earth. Last month was Earth Month, and so I was featured in the Earth magazine because everything I do is eco-friendly. And I said, I'm here, I want to do stuff for you. And we ended up doing all kinds of events for that. I'm also with a little girl. She is farmers something. They do like a little pageant, with the little kids, and it's for celebrating farmers and all that stuff. I was there. I said, hey, I'm there. I want to support you. I want to, So anyway, the reason I'm saying all of that is because I have been able to, I have products that are health ingredients that most of the big companies now are looking for adding to their product line already. Coca-Cola is coming up with, we know Coke, we know it's full of sugar, even if, they don't say it's full of chemicals and all that stuff, and people are getting away from that. They want something more authentic. And Coca-Cola was looking for where can they get their ingredient from, or what it is that they can do to market their product. So we were selling to, I won't mention the name, but we were selling to this one big other company, and they chose me over them, simply because one, I'm a small business, and I've proven myself. Of course, nobody would do business with you unless they trust you, right? They went online, they saw all the stuff that I've been doing, they saw my pictures, they picked me over them because they wanted to support what it is that I'm doing. Whether it is the community level stuff that I'm doing, whether it is on the international scene that I'm doing, and also my product. So I was able to get a very big contract with them, and now we are just finishing up the contracts, and it'll be ready to go in a few months, where I'll be supplying my product to them. Also through that, I'm in about 66 stores on the East Coast. My product is, we are just negotiating how to, I'm just finishing up my organic certification to get into Whole Foods. And the possibilities all came because I was able to just keep myself at that level. I never thought I'm just one person. I work with women in Africa. We've never been to the United States. I work with the ingredients that nobody has ever heard of. You can come and see some of them over there. And I've been able to keep true to my values. I would never cut corners, but I always know that it is because of those women back there. It is because I'm in this community I have to be grateful. It is because I need to keep my product eco-friendly and plant-based. So that's where I am. Oh gosh, I wish I could show you all this. It's all wonderful stuff, but anyway, that's me. My company is actually I'm here in the US. I'm also registered in Malawi. I'm also registered in Mozambique. And I said I work with a whole lot of women, and my website is there and my phone number is there. So if anyone has any questions, I would love to answer any questions you have.
How long? I wasn't here for the first part of it, but how long have you had your business?
She's just asking how long have I had my business. I started in 2005, but I was doing something else. What I'm doing right now, I started in 2018. And just before the pandemic, I thought 2020 was going to be my year where I'm going to really leap, but I couldn't. I also own processing units in all these countries where I work with these women. They collect the fruit, they bring it to me. I also work with some of them to process in Africa, where we distribute in Africa as well. But it's just me. And then I've got a lot of contract people because everything is seasonal.
So, aside from sticking true to my values, which is very essential and important, before I leave here today, what is the best advice that you would have for me as a small business owner?
Absolutely. So she said, if you didn't hear what she just said, she said, beyond just keeping to your values, what is it that she should take away from whatever I've just said? I think the best thing that you should do is not to be afraid. Keep those fears away. Leap outside of your boundaries. If you see an opportunity, or even if it's a hurdle, you think it's a hurdle, how am I going to find solutions? There's always solutions. Especially now, there's a lot of support for small businesses, I think. Whether it's in the local community here or online, there's been so much that you can take advantage of, but don't be fearful. Don't build boundaries around yourself that you cannot do it. I mean, I did it. I never even knew that I could get a contract over, and I just talked about Coca-Cola, and there are many other companies that I have bid to the contract, you know, to get something going just because I wasn't afraid and I thought I'm just going to do it. And people always told me, whom do you think you are? How are you going to do that? But I did it. Yeah. So, because, oh yes, I know who I am. And even if I don't know who I am, I'll be shivering to my bones, but I'll do it. I'll go and try it, even if it doesn't work at that point. I will try it, but I will do it. I will try my best. I hope that was helpful. Yes. All right. Any questions? All right. Thank you so much. Hopefully that was good.